Well, hey there, welcome, and thanks for being here with us today. We've heard from lots of couples how this show brings value to them, and if that's true for you, would you take a moment to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen? Thanks so much in advance for your feedback, and honey, what do you say we hop in?
Back in 2021, we started to imagine what it would look like to build a blended family community and offer much of the same resources and content we do when we coach couples privately, but do it all with a group of blended couples. At that point, it was just an idea, kind of a dream that would help us to reach and support more couples who need help, and at the same time, build a supportive community of blending couples who are all experiencing kind of similar challenges.
That's absolutely right. And then in the fall of 2022, we put our idea into action with a small group of founding member couples who'd been out there looking for this kind of support, but really struggling to find it. And so they were super excited about our idea and they decided to join us. Well, things went really well. And about a year later, we opened up the group for new members to join. And we continued to use the feedback to kind of shape our community. Well, we've tried out different ways to get everybody together on Zoom and deliver practical workshops and coach couples around challenging pain points, as well as offer some Q&A opportunities every single month.
That's right. As a community, we've learned, we've laughed and cried together. We've helped each other along with encouraging words and shared our similar experiences. Our members enjoy a supportive environment of camaraderie and care. And one of the most beneficial aspects of our community is that we don't feel alone anymore.
That's right. So if you've been feeling isolated as you've struggled through all the ups and downs of blending, we want you to know you're not alone. Being part of a blended family can feel lonely. Friends and family often don't understand your unique complexities, and they might offer their best advice out of the goodness of their heart, but it might not be all that helpful because sometimes they just don't get it.
Exactly. Throughout more than 2 decades of blending, we've come to realize just how important community is. Early on, we got plugged into a supportive community, and, I don't know what we would have done without them. You don't have to do this alone either. We understand what you're going through, and we're here to help. Back in episode 166, we talked about the empowering benefits of a blended family community. Maybe you aren't exactly sure about what the benefits might be for you or why community is so important. We understand your reluctance and that some of the issues that blended families face can be sensitive and hard to talk about.
Yep, and that's why we'd like to reshare a portion of that episode today and encourage you to listen into the insightful interview with one of our founding member couples, Chris and Nicole, who are raw and real with what they've experienced over their blend. We want you to know that we place a high priority on creating a space of empathy, safety, and non-judgment in our community.
As you listen in, we invite you to consider joining Chris and Nicole and many other couples by plugging into Blending Together and personally experience all that our community has to offer. Just click the link in the show notes to find out all of the details. And we hope that you'll listen in right on the other end of the intro to our interview with Chris and Nicole and to hear more about how their blended family has moved forward in a positive direction since joining our community.
Welcome to the Blended Family Breakthrough Podcast. We're your hosts, Mike and Kim.
We believe in a world where blended families can experience a future full of hope, connection, and peace.
That's why we offer tools, strategies, and guidance that move you from a place of confusion and conflict to experiencing a life of confidence and connection.
We're so glad you're joining us for authentic and sometimes comical conversations as we cover everything from romance to parenting, and yes, even dealing with that difficult ex.
So if you're ready to experience breakthrough in your blended family, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Well, hey, Chris. Hey, Nicole. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
We're so excited to have you guys on the show. And we're wondering if we could just kick it off by sharing some of your dynamics.
Yeah.
How long have you been together? Who has kids? What are the ages? All that kind of fun stuff.
Sure. So we have been together for 6 years in almost a month. Coming up on 6 years in a month.
Nice.
Okay.
So we're heading to Nashville. That'll be our 6-year anniversary. And we're one of those blended families that comes in with, fully loaded packages. So I have a son who is 14.
And I have 2 daughters. Emily is 8, almost 9. Her birthday's coming up very, very, very quickly. And Sophia just turned 11 at the beginning of summer.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. So you guys hit the ground running.
We don't do anything in small measures, Mike.
Very good.
So you've got a teenager, a preteen, and a younger one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all the developmental stages going on there.
Absolutely.
We really do.
Yeah.
Different schools, different subsects, different problems. And I
Yep.
think hopefully just a little bit of burnout by the time that third one hits.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys have lots of free time. You guys get to hang out
Oh,
as a
yeah.
couple. Is that what I'm hearing?
So much. We travel the world in our free time.
Oh,
all
that's
80
awesome.
days. All 80
Wow.
days.
Yeah.
We fill a lot of our time with everything and anything. We're kind of the couple that say yes to almost everything.
Okay.
And then it comes back to like past us really said yes to this also.
Yeah.
I do think that's one of the strengths of our relationship is that we, on some level, never really stop dating each other. We never stop. Our alone time is precious.
Yeah.
We do actually do a lot of traveling, and
Yeah.
we've aligned our kids' schedules so that we have family time on this time, and then we prioritize our us time on, and then also try to figure out house projects, which never get done.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That is really great to understand that because, our dynamics can easily pull at our couple relationship. And what's actually pretty cool is you've been in our founding member community.
Mhm.
And I think once in a while, like date night is hanging out with Mike and Kim in the group. Is that right?
Yeah, the kids go to bed, and we get a bottle of wine, and we chill with Mike and Kim.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Well, it's been a privilege to be a
Yes.
part of that along the way.
Yes, it has.
Tell us a little bit about what your motivation was to decide to join the community.
So let me set the stage a little bit of where we were.
Sure.
So we'd been together for 5 years. We had tried couples therapy. We
Yeah.
had tried everything in between. I'm the reader of, the couple. I listen to all the things. I read all the things. I'm in all the groups. I'm always trying to search for all of these things that we struggle with. There has to be somebody that's figured out some level of path.
Hmm.
And there wasn't. There really wasn't. I found that the support for blended families was very lacking.
Yeah.
And somebody in one of those online groups had linked me over to your coaching page.
Mm-hmm.
From the coaching page, I found your podcast.
Okay.
And then I listened to the 4-part session on Trapped Teammate and Stranded Stranger. And
Mhm.
I finally felt heard
Wow.
and understood for the first time, I think, in our relationship of trying to figure all of this out. And so once I saw that you guys were starting up a group, I fired off an invite. I hadn't even told Chris about it yet. I was like, well, if I sign up, you can't say no, right? We're together. Do it. And then I had, a call with Kim and roped him in, and he was like, yeah, of course, I'm all for it. It's just one of those things that you realize that so many people out there are in their situation and they're all struggling.
Mhm. Yep.
Some way, shape, or form. There's some level of minor or major struggle, and there are no resources for that.
Yeah.
It definitely was really disheartening because we worked with like a family therapist for almost a year, and it was very just circular logic.
Okay.
Or let's delve more into our childhoods, but we weren't getting to what was actually causing a lot of the pain and strife. And eventually, I think even to her own credit, she was like, this is not what I do.
Yeah.
And she had come from a resource that very specifically was like, this is what we do.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and it was, she listened to the first set of podcasts and immediately was like, you need to listen to this. And it was amazing to hear yourself in these situations. And like, it's very specifically starting with that was our gateway, was the trap teammate trained stranger.
Yeah.
Good alliteration is going to get anybody in the door.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. It's all about rhyming and alliteration. Yeah.
But it was fascinating for me, not just to see myself in it, but to really, for the first time, see where she was.
It sounds like you grew in empathy as you started to kind of see each other through a different lens. Is that right?
Very much so.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's so good.
Yeah. So you heard the podcast, you connected with some of our personal stories and the pain that we've been through. Since then, since you've, joined our community and you've been joining us for all kinds of adventure and learning and growing and all of that, can you tell us what's one problem or one challenge that you were really struggling with, even though you had all the information, right? You heard things, you read things, but it was just really hard to implement it. How has the community helped you to implement a strategy?
So I think for us, it was almost at the very beginning, and I think you guys wisely lay things out with a strong foundation of what do words mean to you?
Yeah.
And I found that to be such a profound exercise from a psychological standpoint and an entomology standpoint but I would say these are the words that are most important to me, and here's why. And then she would say, these are the words. And then understanding that, what you're saying is this word is not what I think this word means.
Exactly.
It's depends on what your definition of is.
Right.
It very much was like that. I think was one of the most profound moments we've had as a couple. Was really seeing that aspect of the basic definition of fundamental words and values and how those attribute to each one of us individually, because we're all going to look at things through our own, kaleidoscope of experiences. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great.
I think mine would be, to piggyback a little bit off of his, was the exercise that we had done on values. So in our relationship, I tend to be the very structured and very rules-oriented partner. And Chris is about as anti-rules as one can get.
I'm a rebel, Dottie.
I hear you, Chris.
So we butted heads a lot about, like, here's the rules that I think that really should matter, and here's the structure. When we did that exercise where we reframed everything as, what do you value? What values are you trying to convey to your children? What do you want the children to grow up to be like? Like, you're not just raising children, you're raising, hopefully, kids who will turn into respectable adults.
Right.
And what sort of things do you want them to come out of this knowing? And so being able to reframe it in terms of values was crucial to a lot of our conversations.
Right.
Awesome.
So we talk about that a lot on the show, that, building your family's values. What are the character traits? What are the life skills you want your kids to have? But then actually implementing it.
Yeah.
That can be a struggle, right? How do we go from all the knowledge to the actual transformation? And it sounds like it's been helpful to do these workshops and really talk it through and take you step by step through the process. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still have rough periods, and summer's always a bit of a bruised pain point. And there are still things that we want to get better, and that's life. You're always seeking and trying to improve. But our baseline went from just trying to survive certain weekends to, okay, we've actually grown to the point where we're seeing admittable changes in the kids and in the structure and
Awesome.
Understanding what we need.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. So I wonder if we dig a little bit deeper and kind of, so going through and talking about hey, words mean something.
Yes.
And even though maybe we're using the same word, we're actually speaking a different language. And so what we've done over the last 10 months is learn how to speak the same language in different areas of parenting and being together and that kind of thing. And that's been foundational in helping you, is what I've heard. I'm curious if each of you could identify what's been most helpful for you throughout the process. So if you could just pinpoint, one or two things, what's been most helpful for each of you?
I think really the camaraderie of knowing that everyone's family setup is different, and yet at the core, a lot of us are feeling the same things.
Yeah.
And so I almost felt like it was my fault and I was a bad person. And why was I this awful human being for feeling this way? And just being able to validate that some of that's normal, to acknowledge that it's okay, but also to be able to work past it, I think has been leaps and bounds of where we were when we first started.
Yeah. Man, I think about, some of those meetings that we've had where, multiple couples show up and then you're sharing, and it's not even that encouragement coming from Mike and Kim, but it's those other people going, I feel that too. Nicole, you're normal, right?
And offering encouragement. Yeah.
Exactly.
We've loved to watch that.
Yeah, really good.
How about
I do think that that's one of the most exceptional things about bringing together a group and a community is there's validation, and we're not all going to be in the same parts of the country, the same socioeconomic background, the same religious beliefs, the same, everything. But there is these through lines that we're seeing that have yet to be identified.
Yep.
And to know that, hey, they're going through this too, and they're at a completely different stage than you're at.
Yeah.
I don't think it's said well enough. When you are in a blended family and you have your own, child, and you're seeing things and you're seeing things through the perspective of, well, this is my kid.
Yeah.
It can be very isolating, even from your own partner, even from your own children. It is a very isolating experience.
Yeah.
More so than any traditional family setups.
Yeah.
Because it's, us versus the world. It's me and my kid versus all of this.
Yeah.
And you see very quickly, like, no, that's not true. There are just as many people in this boat. You just didn't realize how big the boat was.
Yeah. So it feels like, man, we're going through this alone, and nobody in our immediate circle is experiencing these dynamics. But once we start this journey with Mike and Kim and with a few other couples, we start to realize, actually, we're not alone, and other people are experiencing the same thing. And just that alone actually brings hope, and it brings some energy that, hey, you know what, we can keep moving forward. Is that what I just heard?
I work a lot with the public, and it's been amazing to me, just in the 10 months of having done this, how many people now I'm seeing, oh, you're in the same situation too. You know what you need to do? You need to go here. You identify more, and you're very quickly become very protective of, no, you have to do this.
Your business cards are going to be in his pocket.
That's okay.
Oh, I need to mail some to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Along with my founding member certificate.
There you go.
As founding members, it's been just a delight to have you guys as part of our community. And the two of you have really been integral in helping us to develop this community. You've had tons of insight and feedback that you've offered that's been just amazing. And I'm just wondering if each of you could share what you're most excited about for the future of our community as we continue to grow.
I'm really excited to see this aspect of what you're doing continue to grow, and bringing in new couples and bringing in new voices and new experiences. This is a very private thing that you feel like you're going through.
Yeah.
And it can be very vulnerable putting yourself out there to an entire group of people. But this isn't a judgment zone, because again, we're all in this.
Yeah.
Like when I talked about it being, an isolating experience, everybody has their own island. And that island is your family. That island is the things that you are going through. But it's a chain of islands.
Right.
You don't realize.
Yeah.
And no island subsists entirely on their own. They're pulling resources from all of these other things in order to create a sustainable environment. This very much is a sustainable environment. And the help and the growth in the community, it's so enriching. I can't speak widely enough of what this has the ability to do for families that are really struggling.
Yeah, I love that.
We're
Chris.
excited about that too, Chris.
Hey, we're all in the same boat. We're all struggling with the same thing. How can we support each other and genuinely engage and care for each other along the way? And I'm excited to see that continue to grow as well. Yeah. How about you, Nicole? What do you think?
So I think the thing that I'm most excited for is to expand and get more like viewpoints of other people who are in the same boat. To me, it's like adding more tools in my toolbox, right? So I can reach out to the community, even about something that's not tangentially related to step families. But as we all know, everything in a step family is related to step
just about,
somehow,
For example, when we were struggling with like meal times, and we had reached out to the community because we have various allergies, we have preferences, we have, just a large struggle with how do we feed our kids and not go insane.
Yep.
With a side of step family drama thrown into all of that.
Exactly. Yep.
And everyone's been wonderful about, hey, have you thought about this? Could you try this? Would this fit, in your scenario? And I've been able to, expand all of the tools that I have at my disposal to get through some of the struggle with children.
Yeah. So the bigger we grow the community or the network, the more ideas we're going to have, the more creativity we might experience.
Yeah.
And
like
everybody
said,
wins.
We've got 3 kids in very different stages of development.
Yep.
And we hear some of the stories and some of the things that kids that have left the home, there are kids that are much younger that we can provide 3-year-olds are tough. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yep.
Through the teen years and through, the kids in their 20s, it's giving us guardrails in order to say, we need to make sure that we're on the lookout for this.
Yeah.
We need to know how are we right now going to decide how we're going to handle this. I mean, we've had conversations about how are we handling paying for college, how in a step family situation. What happens when these kids start driving and one of the step parents is like, hey, here's a car, by the way, give the bill to your parent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are scenarios that have come up and we've listened to, and it gives us the ability to say, all right, you hear what they were going to do. We need to sit down and talk about this.
Yeah, exactly.
We feel more prepared.
Yeah. So it helps you to be future focused.
A nice thing to be able to say, yes, we're focused on the future.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so good. So I know that there's somebody listening right now and there's some stirring going on and they're thinking, okay, this sounds pretty good, but they might still have a little bit of hesitation and they're just they're suffering in silence. They're struggling, but they're still feeling apprehensive or kind of unsure about, boy, is this really the right fit for us to join a community? What kind of advice would you have for that person that's just on the fence and kind of wrestling?
I think that I would say if you're struggling, you're not going to get out of the struggle unless you put some effort or some work into it. Why reinvent the wheel? Don't try to make this work from scratch. You're just going to end up with resentment the longer that you let it go on. Come hang out with us. Just listen. Just listen and enjoy and get to know everybody and realize that you do have a really strong community that actually wants you to succeed.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Nicole. Awesome. What about you, Chris? What would you say to that person?
I mean, listen, person, it's tough love time because in all honesty, silently struggling is a choice. You have options that are available. You are choosing to not take advantage of those. There is not a whole lot of options out there. And this is a damn good one. So I think being able to take advantage of that is important.
Yeah.
And, leap. It's okay.
Yeah. Give it a try. Love it. Wow. Thank you. Thank you both so much. It's been such a privilege to get to know you guys. I think you said something about being Mike and Kim fans somewhere along the way, but we're Chris and Nicole fans.
We are.
So really excited to have you guys be a part of it. And so for those of us who are listening, if you want to come and meet Chris and Nicole, you don't give a rip about Mike and Kim. That's totally fine. You guys just join us. You hang out with Chris and Nicole. We'll have a good time. Yeah, it'd
Yeah,
be,
they're
it'd be
awesome.
wonderful. Yeah. So, awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you so
we
much.
so appreciate you just giving feedback. We appreciate what you've done to invest in us and help us build this community. And we are so excited about launching more opportunity for
Yeah.
more people to join us. And if you're listening, we can't wait to meet you.
Absolutely.
Cool. Hey, Chris and Nicole, thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining us today. Really appreciate all your input and your feedback.
And thank you guys for the community and for the kind words always, and for the venue of letting us, speak and for us to be an advocate of you, because again, what you do is genuinely important.
Wow. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Thank you.
you guys.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for having us, and hopefully we can get some new friends, because you can never have too many friends.
That's right. Yeah, very good. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you in the next meeting in the community.
We will.
All right.
See
See
you
you
there.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
What a privilege it's been to be connected to Chris and Nicole over the past year and a half,
Mhm.
plus all the other couples who are a part of Blending Together. At the time of this recording, we have 30 couples who are members, with newcomers trickling in since we've reopened the doors.
That's right. We would love to have you join us and all of these other couples to get the kind of resources and support you really need to build a healthy, thriving blended family at a rate that fits every budget. And if you want to go back to episode 166 to listen to the full episode, we'll leave a link in the show notes for you to do that.
That's right. Hey, we can't wait to meet you in Blending Together. But for now, we'll make this episode a wrap.
Until next time.
Does it ever feel like people just don't get how tough it is to blend a family? What if you could experience a community that's all about healthy support, guidance, and practical strategies that help you thrive in your blended family? Well, now you can. Blending Together is a supportive community for blended family couples just like you.
We've educated and supported hundreds of couples navigating the unique challenges of blended family life. Now we're inviting you to join our community and experience the transformation that awaits you. Blending Together is not just another community. It's a place where you'll find practical, real-life strategies for building unity as a couple,
Creating more connection as a family,
experiencing partnership in parenting,
and even dealing with that difficult ex.
Blending Together is a safe, growth-focused space where you'll get to connect with us and, maybe more importantly, with other blended family couples who truly understand what you're going through. Along the way, you'll discover practical tools, guidance, and hope that empower you to find a future full of confidence and connection.
When you join Blending Together, you'll gain access to a variety of resources like our private Facebook group and online learning platform, monthly coaching meetings, monthly Q&As, and you'll even get to vote on the content for our monthly workshops.
Blending a family can often leave couples feeling alone or isolated, and quality support can sometimes be expensive and hard to find. That's why we're offering you access to all of this at a super low monthly rate, because every blended family deserves the opportunity to thrive regardless of their budget.
So scroll all the way to the bottom of the show notes and click the link to join us in the Blending Together community and meet other couples just like you in our upcoming community meeting. Plus, when you join before the end of the month, you'll gain access to our brand new bonus mini course that will help you make quick headway. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. We can't wait to meet you inside Blending Together. Just click the link all the way at the bottom of the show notes to get started.
We'll see you there.